In this episode, we're going to talk about how you might be using seasons against yourself. Did you know that just because it's now summer, that doesn't mean that your goals, your dreams are further away or less possible? Seriously, we're going to be talking about how we get to remove these labels and these parameters and step into creation mode now. You ready? Let's do it. Hello, you are listening to the Love Your Life as a Performer podcast. I'm Kelly Youngman, and I am the life coach for performers. I help actors, singers, and dancers love themselves and their lives way more. So keep listening to learn how you can love your life both on and off the stage. Hello, and welcome back to episode 43 of the Love Your Life as a Performer podcast. I have been just enjoying so much slowness, so much slowing down to really luxuriate in rest and pleasure and fun and really give myself so much compassion and support and understanding as I'm navigating life. So, if you need a loving, gentle reminder, this is it. It is the perfect time to lean in to giving yourself so much freaking love and support. Another really super fun thing that's been happening in my world is I just gave the members of the Paradigm a really fun challenge. We are in the middle of a 5K and 10-day challenge because oftentimes I find that we get into a waiting period. We start thinking that life is happening to us in a very gentle, subconscious way instead of really remembering that we are the first cause. Our energy, our vibration, our certainty, who we are being influences what we receive and also informs the actions we take to create the possibilities that we want to be experiencing, right? We don't have to wait for people to give us opportunity or to share or show up in a way that creates possibility. We don't have to wait for someone to hand it to us. We can actively be creating that from creation mode. I also did a really fun workshop this week on moving from survival mode into creation mode. And if you missed it, you can actually get access to the replay inside of the Performers Plan when you join us. So that is going to live in the members area. And if you're already a member of the Performers Plan, great. It is in your bonus content and you can go ahead and watch and catch up on that. But it's been so fun to really remember that creation mode is where we have our most magic and potency. Now, something else that came up on a call this week that I wanted to speak to on the podcast is this idea that our life is happening seasonally, and that we have this awareness of okay, well, audition season ended and nothing panned out. So if you are in that boat, just know that you're not alone. And it's a totally human thought to be thinking. But one of my clients in the coaching that we did around this came to the realization that opportunities are everywhere. Opportunities are happening now. Opportunities still exist regardless of it now being the summer. So just notice for your own brain, are you sort of checking out, tapping out? And again, it's not good, bad, right, or wrong. If you're like, you know what, I really just want to lean into the summer and have fun, and I want this season to not be about work at all or not be about career at all, that's totally your choice. You can make that decision. I have friends who have told me that. And again, it's just your choice. And if that feels really fun and delicious and that feels like your fuck yes, amazing, right? And I would just challenge you to be thinking about, again, what does your brain perceive as the trade-off? And what does your brain think will happen if you hold space for career opportunities while you are having fun and enjoying the summer? right? I honestly think that anytime we're doing this, in my brain too, anytime I'm doing this, I love to lean into curiosity. I love to find out, like we talked about last week, what rules is my brain making? And what if those rules don't have to exist? Okay. So I'm here to say again, it isn't good, bad, right, or wrong to lean into whatever you want to lean into. And what if you didn't have to wait for the summer to pass to ramp up belief in your dreams and your career goals? What if you didn't have to just decide and resign to not making money until the fall? That's another circumstance that came up for one of my clients is they were like, okay, I can see that I'm going to be making a lot of money in the fall. I have things lined up, but it feels like I'm just waiting for these summer months to pass and hoping I can get by with the money that I have, right? This is something I kind of talked about in the class, was this idea of when we're in survival mode or waiting period, we're just trying to get by with what's here instead of really seeing that we have access to create anything and everything right here, right now. Okay. So just notice what's coming up for you. Have you been living your life very seasonally? Again, it's not good, bad, right, or wrong, but why? What connotations or connections are you making to the seasons? And what if they didn't have to be true? I feel like, again, it's this idea that certain seasons are slow, certain seasons pick up. And it's just interesting to watch how our brains navigate the sort of ramp up or ramp down or pull back. And it's just what if instead of it being on or off, all in or not, what happens when we invite in a really steady sort of just constant belief, a constant belief that things can be happening? Because I guarantee you, there are going to be Broadway debuts this summer. You just watch. There's going to be someone who books a national tour this summer. Just wait and see. There's going to be someone in the world that books a life-changing role or a national commercial. There are people hiring, and there are people that are going to get jobs. And when your career is not being placed at the opposite end of fun and enjoyment and living your life, then it doesn't have to feel like the constant draining sense of which one is getting my energy. Am I giving my energy into fun, or am I prioritizing my career goals, right? It's really truly seeing and starting to normalize that they can coexist at the same time. And truly, this is something that we work on deeply inside of the Paradigm, my 6-month mastermind, where we consciously choose to have it all. And we do this by really looking at your created identity, your self-concept, your emotional intelligence, and owning your infinite potential. Because who says that you can't have wild amounts of fun and enjoy your personal life and be consciously creating your career at the same time, right? The only reason, and maybe not the only, but the only reason I can think of why we wouldn't believe that was possible is if we were choosing to believe that we couldn't possibly be all in and have fun, or that we'd have to sacrifice taking trips or going, on vacation and enjoying it, knowing that we might miss out, right? That really, truly is one of the examples of how we hold ourselves in survival mode, of looking around at the potential possibilities that we can see and the things that we can guess or assume or predict. And then it's got to build our life around our career in this way that feels really constrained. Okay, so I just want you to be willing to investigate. How are you informing your life decisions based on, air quote, high seasons, busy seasons of performing or of, audition season, etc. And then how are you letting that fear of missing out maybe pull you or prevent you from taking action in other ways? Like, I'll just share with you something that I'm really looking forward to is that at the end of the month, I am going to Italy for one of my best friend's weddings. And this has been on the calendar for a while. And I have had opportunities come up that maybe overlapped, like Broadway tour contracts, Broadway/tour contracts that would have interfered with that decision. If I was making the decision from survival mode of thinking that these opportunities only come around once in a while, and if I don't strike while the iron's hot, I'm going to miss out, maybe my brain would have prioritized taking the job. Maybe. I could see a world in which my past self would have negotiated, would have said, okay, well, it's the summer. The chances of booking a job are even lower, air quote, lower than during busy season. So I'm just going to have to tell my best friend that I can't go to her wedding, right? Versus now, my belief hasn't changed that I'm going to book a Broadway contract this summer. And it's up to you. You get to lean into whether specifics feel good or whether you need to zoom out a little bit. Right? You'll know if it's serving you based on how it feels in your body. For me, thinking the thought, I'm going to book a Broadway contract this summer feels really juicy and spacious. It doesn't feel graspy. It doesn't feel like I'm forcing it. It just feels very open. But if that or whatever your specific goal is doesn't feel juicy and delicious and fun, it feels a little more crunchy and fearful and worrisome and it's feeling tight, then zoom out. Maybe it's I'm going to book my dream contract really soon. And that can feel really good, right? But so I just want to offer that I am 100% in belief and knowing that I'm going to book a Broadway contract this summer and I'm going to go to Italy and enjoy and have the best freaking time celebrating my best friend and the love of her life, right? Those two things can exist, and I can know with certainty that I'm going to have the funds and I'm going to create money by giving value and serving the world with my unique skills and gifts and magic, right? I want to start inviting in the possibility, and it's not even a possibility, it exists, but I want to start inviting you to step into the possibility that you can have exactly the experience you want personally, professionally, and financially, all at the same time. And it's not dependent on the season, on the day of the week, or any other condition that your brain is offering you, right? What happens if you believe you can make the most money you've ever made this month? Just notice what happens in your body when that becomes a possibility that you're willing to play with, a possibility that you're willing to try on. Like my current members of the paradigm are playing with, what happens when they become the person who can make 5K in 10 days instead of thinking it takes a month or 2 months to make that kind of money, right? What would change for you if you became the person who believed you could create 5K in 10 days, right? Do you see what I'm saying? I want you to start removing any filters or parameters or, like we talked about last week, made up rules and confines. Confines? I think confines is the word. That you are giving your brain, limitations that you're giving to your experience. And when you do that and you're in certainty and your body is feeling safe, like the physical experience and energy of your body is safety, and you're willing to believe in the possibility and you're willing to go all in because you're not afraid or unwilling to feel disappointed, because also the relationship to perceived failure or things not working out, it's not a problem, right? When you are actually in belief, you get to be willing to move forward in possibility, to move forward trusting that anything can happen at any time, right? Imagine if you were believing that the shit you wanted to create, like seriously, could happen this week, this month, tomorrow. Notice how different it could feel. And I guess the perfect example of right now, when I'm putting out this podcast, it is summer. What if you could have the amazing summer that you want to have, and you could just get so clear on how you want it to feel, and you can also get so clear on how you want your career to feel in this time. Maybe it's also just like getting clear on the amount of money you want to make. Like, this is where I think like there's the balance of being specific or being general. You get to figure out what feels really good in your body. But I think every now and then we avoid getting specific simply because we don't want to be disappointed, or we don't want to actually look at what comes up next. This was like another fun example of, I was coaching a client this week and they were talking about how there's been like the push and pull of I have everything I need, and like maybe I want to take class or take a voice lesson, thinking those two were opposite ends of the stick instead of seeing that those two things could exist at once, right? But the idea of resisting class and then being like, oh, I'm totally going to take a class when it feels good and when I feel ready. But this client's brain, when it actually came down to, okay, when are you going to do that? Their brain was offering, well, the calendar's really full. Well, things are really busy. Well, I don't really have time. So that's when you really want to just be onto yourself, right? And I feel like that plays into the summer of like, well, I don't want to be stressed out about my career all summer. I want to be enjoying the beautiful weather. Who says our careers have to stress us out this summer? Right? What if your career can feel juicy and delicious all of the time? Not just when you're excited and hopeful during audition season, but even now, today, regardless of whether it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Regardless of whether you think all Broadway shows have closed and now no one's hiring until the fall. Like, regardless of any conditions or circumstances outside of you, what happens when you let yourself be full body excited, like really feel the excitement of being the version of you that you want to be? Okay. This is your opportunity to really just question, where am I expecting things to happen on a certain timeline? Where am I expecting things to happen seasonally? And like, what happens when I remove those parameters? What happens if you give yourself the opportunity to make more money this month, have more fun in your personal life, and book a freaking amazing, fun career opportunity, or take action on something, a project, or writing something or directing something that you've been really called to do? Like, what if you can just allow and be open to receiving that magic now? Open to receiving the next nudge towards the next best step that's going to get you there. Like, that can happen now. Right? This is one of the ways sometimes we slow down our timelines. When we start thinking it has to look a certain way or move in a certain progression or take a certain amount of time, when really It's available to us now when we're actually sinking into, dropping into relaxed energy, openness, excitement, and like vibrating from creation mode, right? It's so different. So again, I'm going to remind you that this is the work that we're doing inside of the paradigm. You get to be, do, have anything you want, and you can create the legacy, the lifestyle, the kind of experience that you want to be having based on how you're relating to all of your life. And when you're doing this really consciously, and you're doing it with created identity, emotional intelligence, and by owning your infinite potential, this is when shit gets weird and anything can happen, and you start quantum leaping because you're no longer holding yourself inside the confines or the restrictions or the parameters of how you think it's supposed to be. When we zoom out, it can happen any which way. And honestly, when you're doing it from the unknown, when you're inviting in the possibility from the unknown, that's when magical shit happens that you least expect. Okay? Right now, enrollment is happening for the July class of the paradigm. If you want to join us, which of course you do, because I know you want to be making more money, you want to be feeling more fulfilled, you want to be actively enjoying your personal life today, that comes from the tools that you're going to gain inside of the paradigm. You want to book your launch call now, today, right now. Go to kellyyoungmanwellness.com/launch and book a call before June 15th. That is when enrollment closes for the July class. So if you want to be masterminding with us over the next 6 months, coaching weekly for an hour, we alternate between one-on-one and group coaching. This is going to give you access to thinking, being, and existing in an entirely different paradigm. Hence the name, the paradigm. So you want to go to kellyyoungmanwellness.com/launch to book your launch call, and you'll find out on the call if you're a good fit. We'll talk about your goals. We'll bring your vision into a tangible sense. You're going to play impossibility on the 60-minute launch call. And again, if it's a good fit, we'll talk about how you can move forward and be in the room this July. Something that I've been reminding myself so potently and powerfully is that so much can change in 6 months. So much can change in 6 months. Who you're being, how you're living, what your life feels like. Your life can be entirely different in 6 months. And it really truly starts from one decision. What happens if you let yourself decide that it's possible for you to have a career that blows your mind while loving your personal life and truly feeling so financially abundant and secure? That is created inside of the paradigm. And I look forward to seeing you in there. The paradigm is a really intimate group. It's a maximum of 10 people. And we really focus in on making new decisions, making bold decisions, and honing your self-trust, your decision-making, and also implementing. We take a lot of action and then we evaluate, and we're doing it together step by step. Putting yourself in a community where other people are moving towards this supercharges your results. Truly. Because it starts normalizing the fact that everyone is in belief that wild, big shit is possible. It's so fun. Space is limited. These spots are going to move quickly. So make sure you book your call today. Don't wait. Your future self is literally already thanking you, because this is going to be the 6 months that change your entire life. All right. That's what I got for you today. Zoom out. Know that you are the one who's creating your experience. Get curious with yourself. Remove the parameters of these seasons and just decide what you want this summer to feel like, what you want this summer to look like, and start playing with the possibility. All right, I'll meet you back here for another episode. Hey, I want to invite you to get started because if this is blowing your mind, imagine the impact of when we actually work together. There are 2 ways to work with me, privately one-on-one or inside of the Paradigm with high quality community. Either way, you're going to go to kellyyoungmanwellness.com/launch to book your free launch call. We're going to spend 60 minutes together with you and your unique dream and vision to co-create a plan to get you there. Let's freaking go.